This is Duke University.
The talk today is really about change and about change in progressive social justice feminist work over several generations of American history. I am making an argument to you all, a plea in a way, that we try to move from what I would characterize as a politics of legitimacy in progressive social justice work in the United States to a politics of solidarity. And I'm going to take you through my own journey towards that end by focusing a little bit on three women within my own family. The first would be Dorothy Quincy Hancock, represented there in the painting by Copley. The second would be my grandmother, Dorothy Quincy Hancock Reed Thomas, and the third would be yours truly, pictured there at the bottom of the screen. So as we go along, I'm going to divide this talk into three parts. The first part has a little bit to do with just the history of these three women so that we're kind of all on the same page as to who I'm talking about. The second part is to look at what I think the implications are of some of the experiences I'm going to relate to you all for contemporary progressive feminist politics in the United States. And the last part is to talk about where we're headed or where we might be headed in this regard. On the other hand, by the time it gets to me, these are identity cards of mine. The top one is for the elections in Namibia. The one below is for the Vienna World Conference on Human Rights. And one of the things that is very distinctive, I think, by the time it gets to me, is that I really did fulfill the feminist impulses and background that I inherited, really. I was a full-on feminist. And I also was a progressive. I had been active in a lot of different kinds of struggles. I had tried to link those struggles to one another. I had really evolved my own politics in a kind of progressive feminist direction. So I had my feminism and I had my progressivism, but the one thing I really didn't have anymore was my Americanism. So I'm saying these are complex politics to move through, but in some way, if we don't find a way to recapture an affirmative Americanism, we're going to leave it to the people who continue to tell us and the president that he isn't one. And I think at this point, we can afford to try to reclaim that space as long as we can find a way to do it together. And I think human rights allows us to do that. I think human rights, if we can approach our work in the United States within the framework of human rights, it's a framework that contradicts, that is directly organized to contradict the very politics of supremacy, be they national, be they white, be they class, be they racial, that we are absolutely dedicated to overturn. So I think reframing the work in human rights terms allows us to reclaim an American identity without being implicated in the exceptionalism and the supremacist politics that we were alienated from in the first place. Under this analysis, America is more like a promise we are called to fulfill than something that existed wholly made in the first instance.
Produced by Duke University, online at duke.edu.